Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we're talking about Forbidden West again and Xbox, the dire situation that Xbox seems to be in. So, before we get started, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and this is pretty awesome. So, Horizon Forbidden West launched. Dang, man. What a launch for that game. So, I have some sad news. Well, not sad news. I mean, like, as my hooves started regrowing and everything, and I started to get in the pony pose again, because I'm not gonna lie, Horizon Forbidden West, it's pretty good, then I stopped myself, and I quickly turned on my Xbox Series X, and I noticed that, and I jumped into Forza Horizon 5, and I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah. So this is what amazing visuals look like at 4K 60, and then I was like, just to further reassure myself, I jumped onto Halo Infinite, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I did make the right choice. Yeah, okay. So, and then my hooves, they didn't grow back, and I didn't become a pony again. So I was like, yes, dude, that is so awesome, to notice that some amazing games, from Xbox first party actually came out and launched, some games that not only look amazing on my OLED, but aren't like stuttery things at 30 frames a second. Because let's face it, man, Horizon Forbidden West, that 60 FPS mode is literally freaking garbage. It's garbage. I don't think they put any time into really trying to optimize that for that. I mean, like it literally looks atrocious. The blur, the motion blur, the everything in there, it looks like garbage. The HDR is a little bit off on that mode. Thankfully, I found ways to make the 4K 30 mode actually feel palatable to play that, because let's face it, man, even Vincent from HD TV Test, he was looking at it, and it kind of makes sense what he was saying about like the OLED TVs with their instant freaking pixel response. Because since I've had the OLED, I've kind of noticed this. 30 FPS games seem a lot more jittery and fidgety. And like, it makes sense, like instant response. So you're getting all that extra, like you're seeing exactly like the motions of like 30 FPS when you move the camera fast. And it sucks, man. Like it's hurting my eyes. And come to think about it, like I've only started noticing that since I got this OLED. It wasn't doing that on my QLED. So, and it doesn't do it on my monitor either. So that's something to like really look at, man. Like I don't know, dude. If you're spending $1,700 on, well, I mean, it's $1,600 for what, a 55-inch LG CX. So if you're spending that much money on one of them TVs and you're getting that flickery mess, Vincent from HD TV Test did mention something about like the colors, like going bright and dark, and I noticed that if I turn VR, I know PlayStation 5 doesn't have VRR support, but I noticed if I turn VRR off on my TV and just completely turn it off, it actually helps a little bit with that, like that stutter, that really freaking flashy motion that the OLED pixel is creating inside those games or whatever for me, and that's awesome. So I mean, yes, I understand that doesn't have that, but I think my TV is creating like some sort of, like, it's trying to do it, even though the PlayStation 5 isn't compatible with it and it doesn't work. I feel like it's doing that, because that's the same if I do that on my Xbox Series X on certain games. If I just turn the VRR off, like with Cyberpunk 2077 and Dying Light 2 for their 30 FPS modes, it definitely makes the experience a little bit more palatable for me. It doesn't completely fix it, it just makes it a little bit better. So so that's good. So should you worry if you have an Xbox about Horizon Forbidden West? No, you shouldn't. I still literally feel like Horizon Forbidden West was a bait and switch. I feel like it's a bait and switch. And if you want proof of that, if you have a PlayStation 5 fanboys, before you start filling up my little comment section with all your comments, Go look at the original launch video of Horizon Forbidden West, full of cutscenes. That literally made me like, oh gosh, man, that hyped me. And during my whole playthrough of that, not one of them situations did I actually see like in game, like running through all those really tall weeds and stuff. I didn't get to experience that. Climbing up over that mountain to see like the to see that base out there in the desert. It never looked like that for me. Being able to actually, I don't even think the cactuses had as many freaking thorns on them in game, or like the little crabs picking at the fish on the beach. Like it never looked like that. Like there's no like little tiny sand pebbles sitting on top of other tiny sand pebbles. Just the fidelity of those visuals, the underwater scenes, like none of that looks as good as what they showed us in the beginning. And then as time went on, you start to notice that yeah, it never really panned out to look like that. You never get into that jungle, that little beach scene where like Aaron's being lit around by the elephants and stuff like that. Like that never happened in my playthrough. So I kind of feel like it was a bait and switch. Like the moment I turned on that PlayStation 5 version and I was looking at it, doing my first impressions, like those were spot on, man. Like I wasn't like just being hyperbolic about it. Like I seriously was not impressed with what I was seeing on my screen. I was not impressed. I was like, wow, dude, this I mean, because the flicker of the 30 FPS, that really takes away from the experience. And then flipping it over to the performance mode with just the ugly fuzz and how that looked, like that ruined the experience for me. I got to a point where I just like my initial impressions of that game were just, it was a letdown. Like I was seriously let down with how that game presented itself to me. Now I do know that I played through this whole game and I scored this game at a 90. Aside from the whole visual thing, I mean, like I literally told you that Dying Light 2 at 1080p was okay. And I stand by that. I literally told you that Crossfire X campaign was an 80. And I stand by that. Horizon Forbidden West, after I got over the fact that I had been baited and switched and got what I got, I found the best way for me to experience that game and give you my honest feelings on the game, on the content of the game. Not on the visuals, not on the bugs, not on the many other things that could have derailed that whole experience for me if I would have just if I would have just stayed in that angry mindset, like, oh yeah, find everything I can to be angry at PlayStation, because I'm not finding everything I can to be angry at PlayStation. I've invested a lot of money in this PlayStation 5. I want it to be able to deliver experiences that I want to play, that I want to enjoy. That's the whole reason to buy a console, right? You don't just buy a console to sit and be mad at it. That's stupid. That is childish. That is straight up fanboy garbage. That's not me. That's not this channel. I want to experience these games and be blown away because, yeah, let's face it, PlayStation games are literally known for their over-the-top movie cinematic type stories and their visuals. That's what they're known for. That's the PlayStation brand. That is when they talk, this is premium. That's the premium experience, because they do have massive budgets to create these games. So yeah, at the end of the day, Horizon Forbidden West was an enjoyable experience for me for the most part. I was able to find a way to enjoy that experience and be able to report back to you that, yeah, I did overlook a lot of stuff. I overlooked a lot of stuff in that review to just come out and give you the casual review. Hey man, if you're a casual gamer, this is going to be a good experience for you. I do plan on coming back and doing a hardcore review for the hardcore gamers, because that's the way I'm doing these now. The casual review will come out first. Hardcore review will come out second. Now I'm going to play around with it a little bit more to like really dig deeper into what's going on with the game and bring you my hardcore gamer review. Like, it's just something that I want to put a little bit more time into, because I really did like the experience for the most part. Like, I thought it was a solid game, definitely a solid addition to the first game. Like, I really appreciated that, and I did like that. But there's a lot of things in there that in my hardcore review I'm not gonna just gloss over. I'm not gonna just gloss over and be whatever. So let's get back to this roundabout of what this video is intended for. If you have an Xbox Series X, should you be worried about what PlayStation 5 is going to bring to the table this generation? No, I don't think you should. We already know God of War is going to come out, and that's going to be 4K 30, the same as this game. They're going to shoot for their 30 FPS mode, and they're going to dial up the graphics as high as they can go. That's fine, whatever. Dial them up. Make them look as shiny, as crystal clean, and whatever as you can at 4K, whatever. We already seen what they could do with God of War, the first one. Let's see. Let's see what the PlayStation 5 can do with 4K 30. I don't think Xbox players have to worry about that, because at the end of the day, when you look at a game like Halo Infinite or Forza Horizon 5, you can tell that their first inclination for those games was the 60 FPS mode. They put all that into 60 FPS mode, and they're like, all right, cool, man. Look at how good we got this going at 60 FPS. Look how beautiful this is. And they're like, you know what, man? We're gonna dial that up a little bit, you know? Or in Halo's instance, you know, you have two modes. You have 1440p at 120 frames a second, and then you have the 60 FPS at 4K. So you have two modes on that game. But with Horizon Forbidden West, or Forza Horizon 5, you got a solid 60 FPS mode that looks freaking clean while you're playing that. That looks great. And then they're like, hey, you know what, man? Let's see what we can do at 30 FPS. And then they crank everything up, and it's like, whoa! And it doesn't feel as jittery, as flickery, as busted as the Horizon Forbidden West does at 30 frames a second. I mean, it's still an actual enjoyable experience at 30 frames a second on Forza Horizon 5 because of the auto low latency that Xbox has put into their console. The latency feels good on that. The latency feels, I mean, like Halo Infinite looks beautiful, like all the time. Like, it literally always looks good. I mean, if there's one thing to kick Halo Infinite about, would possibly be the overuse of the single biome. That does change a little bit, but it's pretty much the same biome. And as we know, Halo Infinite will get more biomes with more updates, and it will be a live service game that could possibly last this whole generation. So am I worried that the Halo Infinite came out with one biome? No, not necessarily, because in the grander scheme of things, hopefully we'll still be able to revisit every area after the next biome comes out and stuff like that. Or maybe, you know, I don't know how they could do that, how they would do that, because that could potentially expand the game size like really big. But if they can find a way to be able to make it so we can still continue to go from biome to biome, and maybe put more challenges or more content in those old biomes as we go, I think max 4 biomes should probably, maybe 4 or 5 biomes for Halo Infinite, you know, the same size that they already are right now. That would probably keep the install file at under, or just over 100 gigs or whatever. But that would be pretty cool if we could keep going, you know, and potentially experience like the whole ring or whatever. That would be cool. That would be cool. And I would be like, wow, that's pretty freaking next gen, to be completely honest. I do think that they should probably stop support for the old console and just leave Halo Infinite like it was for last gen, and then expand the game on new consoles going forward. And then possibly, you know, let people stream that other data if they really want to continue to play that on last gen consoles. But let's just put it this way, man. Everything coming out from Sony, first party, that we know of, is going to be cross-gen. So yeah, it's going to still be stuck with that 30 frames a second mode at 4K. Whereas all the games from Xbox that are coming out this year are going to be next-gen only. I don't think you have to worry. Do I think that Xbox has something intrinsic to go out of their way to prove this generation? No, man. I kind of like having my resolution and my FPS. So if games never go like out of their way to be like extremely beautiful on Xbox Series X, I mean that's something that I might be willing to be like, okay, like I might entertain that as long as they do look good, like they look good and still retain that better performance, like I'm on board with that. I don't necessarily need my games to look super beautiful and be at 30 frames a second. Like that's not necessarily important for me. Do I think the Xbox should, when they put these games out, build like a way like a like really push the visuals on the PC? Heck yeah, they definitely should. They should really push that and FPS as much as they can for PC gamers. That's the thing, man. If you got an Xbox Series X, I want them to give you the best experience with the best performance that you can possibly get. As well, we know those games are launching on PC day and date as well. So yeah, dude, if you go out and spend $3,000 on a PC, yeah, dude, I want you to be able to really take advantage of that power and really push those games as far as you want to. But I do. I think Xbox should draw a line in the sand and say 60 FPS is the new normal. I think they should do that. Does it matter if their games look as pretty as the PlayStation 5 games? No, dude, I don't care. UE5 is going to be a touchy subject this generation. Now, I think that it's possible that first-person shooter games might be able to get a little bit higher resolution at 60 FPS. When it comes to third-person games, my expectations are 30 frames a second at up to 1800p. So that's kind of where I'm at. I would really like to see DirectML come out soon and start being used, and I hope that is a system level feature that could potentially work with older games without needing to be updated. That would be freaking phenomenal, because that would be pretty great. I don't necessarily think you should worry. Don't worry about the PlayStation 5. It literally is already... It's already showing its limitations with cross-gen games. Let me repeat that. Already showing its limitations with cross-gen games. Just the fact that Horizon Forbidden West literally got stuck at 1800p checkerboard at 60 frames a second. PS4 Pro's cranking that thing out at 1800p checkerboard at 30 frames a second. Like it's really not impressive, guys. I mean, no matter which way you turn it, it's not impressive. Forza Horizon 5 runs at a dynamic 4K 60 frames a second, and it looks beautiful all the time. I've never seen the resolution drop one time. It always looks crystal clean to me, and it's beautiful. You really don't lose that much going to 60 FPS. You do get a little bit more pop in, but I mean... it's really not noticeable if your eyes are on the road like they should be. Don't worry about it. It's a cross-gen game. I think that both the PlayStation 5 and Series X are going to be able to really take advantage of new technologies and new things in the new engines that they build for these games. And I think we're just freaking out over nothing right now. I think we're freaking out over nothing, and it does suck that we got to pay $70 for these cross-gen games on the PlayStation 5. It really does suck, because the PlayStation 4 Pro is definitely holding them back. I could tell right away when I started playing Horizon Forbidden West that it is in fact a PlayStation 4 game. 100% PlayStation 4 game. Should have came with a PlayStation 4 price tag. That's just me. I think God of War is going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be a small linear experience, just like the first game. Fishbowl type feeling. That's the way I always feel when I play a PlayStation open world game. I feel they feel like a fishbowl experience. The only one that's broken that mold for me is Ghost of Tsushima. And Ghost of Tsushima is great, but the gosh dang low resolution textures and freaking checkerboard, it ruins everything. But dude, like seriously, that's the best we could get. 4K checkerboard at 60 frames a second. It sucks that we had to pay 10 extra bucks for that. But hey, man, PlayStation needs the money more than you do, so don't you worry about it. We're going to get back on to cranking out some really cool, amazing Xbox content. We have a Assetto Corsa Competizione update tomorrow. Next gen version. I will be checking that out on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series X. I'm seriously considering picking up a PlayStation 5 version of that just so I could. Actually, I don't know, man. Covering PlayStation 5 games, I don't really get that many views, so like I don't really care. So I will definitely be doing some really definite deep dive onto that on the Xbox Series S, because let's face it, Series S is my bread and butter right now. So we'll definitely be covering that. And then we got Elden Ring. I will extensively cover that on Xbox Series S for you. I will go over VRR. I will go over performance modes and all of that to see and give you my best recommendation how to really experience that game on an Xbox Series S, as well as Xbox Series X. I will be doing a lot of coverage for that. You're going to get some Grid Legends content this week as well. We got a lot planned. And then next week, I was thinking about picking up Shadow Warriors 3, but it's not Xbox Series X and S. It's just it's just Xbox One game. So I don't know if I'm gonna really go out of my way to cover that, but I might. I just haven't decided yet. I've already bought a lot of stuff, and then next week we'll have Gran Turismo 7. So, yeah. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out one of these videos if you need something more to watch. And I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.